Hi everyone, welcome all to the SOA Faculty Webcast, Faculty Sharing. My name is Ploy Panitkun. I'll be your moderator for today's session. I'm the Vice President and Head of Capital Management at Prudential Thailand. I'm a Fellow of Society of Actuaries and a Fellow of the Canadian Institute of Actuaries, a Certified Public Accountant, and a Chartered Enterprise Risk Analyst. Before we getting started, I'd like to go over some few housekeeping items. So we have a Q&A time after each presentation. You may type your questions into the question box of the screen. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. Your questions will be collected and we will try to address them during the Q&A session after each presentation. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the speaker of welcome remarks, Vicki Chang. Vicki is currently the head of SCORE Taipei office and an adjunct assistant professor at Suzhou University in Taipei. Vicki has more than 20 years of experience in the fields of life insurance and reinsurance in both US and Taiwan. Vicki holds a master's degree in Actuarial Science from Georgia State University, USA. She is a fellow of the Society of Actuaries and a fellow of the Actuarial Institute of Chinese Taipei. She is also the SOA Greater Asia Committee member in Taiwan. So let's welcome Vicki on stage.
Okay, thank you. Hi, welcome everybody for your time joining today's faculty webcast. And also thank you for all the speaker and moderator for your participation. Today is the third faculty webcast and the last one the Society of Actuary organized this year. The first one was about SOA education and research that was intended to provide related SOA project and details for faculty further understanding and consideration. Second one was industrial sharing by members who are working in non-traditional field. It intended to provide relevant non-traditional career outlook for faculty to understand as to further share with students and for them to consider when preparing themselves to enter to this profession. This session today is for experienced faculty members of actuarial science related program to share insight and practice with faculty audience so that they can consider learning from similar practice, experience, and insight. Hope you all have a productive and insightful learning today, and let's start today's sessions.
Thank you, Vicki, for your warm welcome. So now it's time for our first session of the webcast. In this session, our speakers, David and Watt, will share the topic about experiential learning and career training in actuarial science. David is a lecturer at the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, School of Computing and Data Science at the University of Hong Kong. He's currently the director of the bachelor program in Actuarial Science and has taught many actuarial science and statistics courses, such as life contingencies, corporate finance, multivariate statistics, statistical inference, and time series. He earned his BSc in Actuarial Science, first class honors, and Master's in Statistics at the University of Hong Kong, and a PhD in Statistics at the University of British Columbia. He is an associate of the Society of Actuaries and a fellow of the Advanced HE, a British professional membership scheme promoting excellence in higher education. And Watt is a lecturer at the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, School of Computing and Data Science, the University of Hong Kong. He's currently the program director of the BSc Risk Management and a council member of the Actuarial Society of Hong Kong, chairing the Professional Development Committee and the Membership and Communications Committee. He was one of the founders of the Career Advising Program for Actuarial Science students and was the person in charge for many years. With over a decade of tertiary education work experience, he also actively involves in voluntary services in different professional bodies, including the Society of Actuaries, the International Actuarial Association, and the CFA Society of Hong Kong. So let's welcome David and Watt on stage.
Thank you, Floyd, for the introduction. So let me share my screen. Okay, so welcome everyone, and I'm David from the University of Hong Kong, and today Dr. Wat and I will share our experience in teaching our actuarial science students, and especially in regard to the experiential learning. So our actuarial science program at Hong Kong U is under the science faculty, the Bachelor of Science, and it started in 1994, that's 30 years ago, as one of the flagship programs in Hong Kong at the time. So over the years, we have expanded our program, and initially, I think there were only around 20 students a year, and now it has grown to almost 80 to 90 students every year. So since 2011, we are designated as a CAE under the SOA, and this kind of shows our commitment to quality actuarial science education to our students. And also we have a tight connection to the industry that will provide a lot of practical experience opportunities for our students. So more recently, the SOA implemented the UEC scheme, where students are able to get exemptions for certain exams if they get a certain score in our courses. So in 2022, we joined the UEC scheme as one of the, I think, around 14 universities initially to join in this scheme. So currently our students are able to get certain exemptions from SOA exams. So our curriculum has, as you can see on the screen now, a lot of courses. Uh, so a lot of these are about theory, of course, because we need to prepare them for their SOA exams and also their career progress. But we also have a practical component for our students. So as you can see here, this table lists our courses for our students. So I think so we have a 4-year curriculum now. So in the first and second years, you can see that these are more of an introductory topic to various aspects related to actuarial science, for example, economics, accounting, some mathematics methods, probability, statistical models, and so on. So starting from year 3 onwards, it tends to be more specialized with topics more focused on the core principles, core theory of actuarial science. Now, there's one component that we want to focus here in this talk, that is the capstone requirement. So it is a 6-credit course component that has to be fulfilled by all the students in our program. So the capstone requirement was formerly called experiential learning. Now, in around 2011 to 2012, we switched to a 4-year curriculum. So previously, it was only 3 years of university education, but now we have a 4-year curriculum. And at that time, there was a report, an audit that talks about the importance of an experiential learning component. So all students experience a research-informed teaching and learning environment which promotes inquiry-based learning. That's from the audit report at the time. So capstone requirement, so apart from the fact that many UG courses, especially senior year courses, draw on research conducted by faculty members, capstone experience will be introduced at that time to the 4-year curriculum. So it is required of all students, not just in our actuarial science program. And basically, it is a component that involves practical application of the skills they have learned from our more technical or theory-based courses. So at our university in the actuarial science program, we allow students to fulfill the capstone requirement by completing one of the 3 courses here. Well, they can choose to do more than one, but typically most of our students will choose one of them. So we have the first one, capstone experience for actuarial science undergraduates. So this one is basically a project course for our students. So they will work on a project with one of our faculty members. And this is similar to 4798 Statistics and Actuarial Science project, but I think the last one is an individual project base. So these two are more suitable for students who want to do a project, but I think most of our students will go for the middle one, that is the Actuarial Science internship. So I think all of you will know the importance of internship to our students while they are studying, because this is highly related to their career as an actuary. So in fact, most of our students at some point in their study will participate in a 6-month internship. So we require them, if they want to fulfill the capstone requirement by joining an internship, it has to last for half a year so that they have enough time to experience the workplace and the actuarial functions in an insurance company or a consulting company. So this is a timeline of the typical progress for our students. So if they are to go to an internship, they will usually do this in their 3rd or 4th year of study. And as I just mentioned, it will last 6 months. So it will typically begin either in January or in July, with usually more students taking the July to December uh, section. And now a typical timeline looks like this. So starting, so I think the numbers here shows the month of a year. So starting in their 2nd year of study, they will start to apply for internship. That's around September to December of their 1st semester in year 2. And they will attend interviews, and maybe they will get accepted in the 2nd semester of year 2. At that point, they will need to apply for leave of absence because they will be away from school for 6 months to take on this full-time internship. And typically, now for those who start in July, they will have their internship in the summer after their year 2, and that will last into their year 3 semester 1. So when they come back, that is semester 2 of their 3rd year, they will, of course, continue to take courses here, but they will also have to give a presentation to us, to the faculties, as well as to the students, year 1 students, so that they can have some information or some knowledge about how the internship is like. And they will also need to submit a report. And then after that, they will continue their studies at Hong Kong U. And because they spend 6 months not studying, so most of them will have to defer their studies for 1 semester. And that means they will graduate after December in the 1st semester of their 5th year. So here is just a table to kind of show you the how many students are taking our the internship opportunities. So usually they will not do it in year 1 or year 2 because they have not yet acquired sufficient technical knowledge related to the field. But starting from year 3, you can see that there are a lot of participants in the internship, and the participation rate is above 90%. So most of our students will actually participate in internship sometime during their study. So you can also see that year 3 seems to have more students in this table, but that is something about how the university counts the students. So I think when they come back to Hong Kong U after their internship, the the internal counting system will still regard them as year 3 for, I think, 2 semesters. So there will be a bunch of students who are kind of stuck at year 3 before they are actually promoted to the 4th year. So it's just a matter of counting. So it's not like we have suddenly more students in the 3rd year. Yeah, so our department has an internship or actually a job application system online for our students, so that they don't have to worry about where to find those opportunities. So we have a link for our students to access the internship and job application system, which looks something like this. And in this system, they will see a list of the jobs available, internships, as you can see here, and sometimes also permanent positions are also posted here. And they will have access to their application history as well as their past internship. So everything is very organized and easy to navigate for the students so that they can find an internship efficiently. Okay, I think now I will hand over to Dr. Watt to continue our presentation, and he will talk more on the specific measures we have to support our students in their professional development.
Thank you, David. So after we introduce our internship program, so I'm trying to talk about how our university provide career support and professional development along the 4 years in the university study. So you can see on the screen that we will include different elements while different activities in each year of their study. So when they first get admitted in the university, so they know nothing about actuarial science, so they will first learn some background knowledge from various parties, for example, alumni, for example, senior students, and also their teachers. So what they learn is some technical concept and know how they can prepare for their job seeking and anything they can do with the experiential learning. And as mentioned by David earlier, so in year 2, the student will start their job seeking preparation. So they look for internship, attend career workshop. And in year 3, they will work on the practical work in the industry as an actuarial intern. Probably some students will even work for more than one internship in their university study. And finally, in year 4, they will further expose in different capstone experience. Maybe they can do a research project, or they can consider doing a second internship, etc. So now I'm going to walk through how students will come up with different kind of training in our university. So in year 1, so a very special occasion that all our actuarial science students will attend is called the Prelude to Actuarial Internships and Workplace Etiquette Workshop. So what we're going to do with this workshop and the Prelude internship session is that we will invite our alumni who work in the actuarial profession to give their sharing, their real-life work experience to our freshmen. They are not only the practitioner in the insurance industry, but they are also our senior graduates. So they can also share about their past experience at Hong Kong U, how they study actuarial science, and what they should take care in the career preparation or professional examinations, etc. And the workplace etiquette workshop has been in place in recent year in one of our events called under the Career Advising Program in our university. So this workshop tells students what they should behave and how they should interact with other people in a workplace manner. We can imagine freshman students are basically very fresh and new to the workplace. So they may not even know how to write a proper email and what is the workplace etiquette, how they should react to different situations, how they should work with different people, to their superior, to their peers, etc. So this workshop will be conducted every semester. Our career advisor will tell them, so what should be the proper way to communicate with others, how they should behave professionally in the workplace. That finds to be very useful. Apart from the actuarial workshop, so we also have the internship sharing by the senior year students. So senior year students, after finishing their internship, they will be required to give a presentation, not only for their internship course, but also to provide sharing to the junior students, so that the junior student can know what they're going to face in the coming 2 to 3 years. So these sessions also turns out to be very useful for the junior students to prepare, for example, how they should look for a job, what they should prepare better in preparing for the upcoming internships, etc. And we also have the so-called corporate mentorship program. Our university have partnership with different organizations and companies where they will offer some mentors that they will help with our students, guide them through a period of several months. So they will tell them what the actuarial career looks like in the future, and they will also share some real-world experience with them. In the coming few slides, we'll also mention the PPP, Professional Preparation Program, which consists of different modules, which is also like career training, which include the interview workshop, CV clinics, and also some case analysis and group interview skills. So this is the career advising program that I mentioned earlier. So this is a big umbrella under which there are many activities and events that we offer to our students for career training and provide different kinds of experiential learning. So this includes individual consultation on how the student should write their cover letter, their resume, etc. So those are guided by a career advisor, which can provide one-on-one or group consultation training on the interview skills and also provide some mock interview. And we will also organize career talks and also company visits. So in year 2, before students really goes to the internship, they will try to attend some different company visits to know the different cultures of different firms. So students do not only work in insurance company, they also work in consulting firms, banks, and reinsurers. So those will also give them different kind of exposure in practical actuarial experience. We will also organize alumni sharing so that our graduates can tell our junior students what is their career life looks like. We also provide some training apart from our curriculum. In particular, we offer a certificate course focusing on IT skills. So we may not easily incorporate all kinds of programming language in a particular course in our curriculum. So we offer this course to our students so that students can learn something like VBA programming and SQL, which may be quite helpful in the actuarial work. And year 3, they will start working for their full-time internship, taking a gap semester or even a gap year. So students welcome this kind of experience because actuarial science is a highly applicable discipline. So students do not only take professional examination, but they have to gain practical experience to learn what they should work as a professional actuary in the future. Some of them may also consider going on exchange, which is also a good experiential learning. They have a chance to have a study experience in a different environment to learn from different actuarial science teachers from other universities. Finally, before they graduate, in their year 4 studies, in case they haven't fulfilled some capstone experience, then they may considering an internship, or they can also consider doing a research project under the supervision of our faculty members. We also will conduct a career fair. So you can see this is some photos taken 2 months ago this year. So this is actually a very big event that we would like to organize. We invite different companies, organizations who may provide graduate jobs or internship offer to our students. So they may provide on-site interview, and they can also introduce their company and what kind of job prospects that the students may consider. So it attracts a lot of students from our departments. So to sum up for the career advising program, we have the individual training workshop. We have activities connecting mentors with different companies. We also provide alumni sharing, which provide a connection between our junior students and senior students and also our graduates. So here are some details on our website regarding this career advising program. So as I mentioned, there are different modules under this professional preparation program under the CAP. So the modules about the case analysis and presentation, especially attractive to students, because this module actually mimic a real interview situation. Very often, the company will give a case study to a group of candidates to analyze, to see how their logical thinking, how they react to a particular situation, etc. So our module will provide a mock session for them to practice how they can react to this kind of situation. And for senior students, we also have a module to teach them how to choose between different job offers, depending on their experience, their exposure, and their interest and ambition. So we may advise them to take different particular job offers. Within our actuarial students community, we also arrange a student platform for students to discuss and interact with their peers. So this is not only for a particular year of students, but all the actuarial science students can join this platform. So they can share their study experience, they can ask questions, they can consult teachers or seniors about job interviews or any career advice in this platform. So we can also provide other information in this student community platform. In our University of Hong Kong, we also have a student advising system where students will not only be assigned to a faculty member as advisor, but there are senior students acting as the student peer advisor. This scheme can actually promote the leadership of our senior students, and junior students actually taking experience from this advising and consultation session. Several years later, they can also become an advisor to the future junior students. So I think this is a very good leadership training to our actuarial science students. Another support that we provide to students to encourage experiential learning is that this year we support students to attend different conferences organized in Hong Kong. In particular, in September, there's an East Asian Insurance Congress where the SOA is one of the sponsors. So they actually very glad that they invite some of our students to attend this workshop, and students find this very fruitful in learning more about the industry. And in October, in Hong Kong, there's also another big conference, the Asian Actuarial Conference. So the organizer and our university also provide some sponsorship for our students to attend. So they find it very, very fruitful to learn different things in the workshop, in these conferences. So I quote some of the feedback from our students. So they mentioned that they have built up their confidence in their future career by learning a more practitioner sharing in the conference. And they know how different insurance product has been readjusted during the COVID time. Some also learned about the new concept like machine learning method used in the insurance industry in actuarial practice. And they also learn more about the current trend and actuarial industry from the experienced professional. So they find that it's very fruitful to attend this conference and to think beyond the traditional role and think about the innovative nature of actuarial profession. We also welcome our students to join different activities. In particular, since the beginning of the SOA Student Research Challenge, our university has joined taking part in it every year. So even in the first round, our students joined in the 2016 case challenges, and we're happy that they get the second place. So we join this every year, basically. So we also want to briefly mention that in our curriculum, we also emphasize on communication and other kinds of activities to promote the concept of experiential learning. So in one of the UEC requirement, so we would like students to be able to think from different perspectives and to be able to interact with others through communication. So in one of the course, Stat 3953, Fundamentals of Actuarial Practice, we involve some activities that students can do more communication. In particular, we'd like to play different games that in which students can take different role plays and they can think from different perspectives. So those are very practical contents that students will really face in their future actuarial career. And through these activities, I think students can learn not only the actuarial concept, but a professional mindset and how they should interact and communicate with different people through these kind of events. So we would like this kind of experiential learning to continue to help students learn the actual knowledge and skills, but not only on textbook reading and during examination. So that's the end for our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Watt and David. That's very insightful sharing session. So we have around 5 minutes of the Q&A session. Maybe we can start with questions in the Q&A box. The first two are quite related. So for HKU, how to help students to find internships, and is the internship opportunities guaranteed to all actual students? Yeah, may I hand over to you, Watt and David? Thank you.
So I think for at our university, usually, as I mentioned before, we have an internship online system for our students to find those internships. And actually, the employers are actively connecting to our department, so they will notify us of any openings, internship or permanent position, so that we can post all the advertisements and those relevant details on the internship system. So most of our students will find a position in that system. Of course, that's not the only way. So if they are able to find actuarial related positions elsewhere, they are also welcome to use that to fulfill the capstone requirement. And I think the other question is whether it is guaranteed to all students. Now, most of our students will choose to do an internship. And in fact, we have a lot of internship positions from our employers. So they need a lot of internship students every year. So actually, most of our students who would like to complete the capstone requirement through the internship will be able to find at least one 6-month internship offer. Yes, maybe Dr. What, any thing to supplement?
I think recently more of our students will even take part in more than one internship because they would like to have exposure in different actuarial practice. For example, a student having working in a bank would like to try the work from in a consulting firm. And actually, most of our internship are 6 months in length. So as David mentioned earlier, in Hong Kong, they are either in from January to June or in July to December. But recently, there are other combination. For example, some company may also offer part-time internship and also the summertime internship. So that would facilitate the students to take part in that if they do not want to take a full-time leave from their study. So I think this is the recent trend.
Thank you. Maybe we have time for another question here. May I know what proportion of your graduates can find a job related to actual field after their graduation?
Oh, for this part that we are quite satisfied. Uh, I think over 90% of our students will be able to find a job, and then they will continue their associateship and then fellowship. And some of them will consider further study. And for those students, they may not pursue actuarial career. But for those who would like to enter the actuarial career, they will proceed further. And I think they will attain their associate and fellowship probably within 5 to 8 years after their graduations.
Thank you. Maybe another question. What percentage of your program graduates can earn the associateship and then fellowship after their graduation?
Yeah, I think Dr. Watt has just mentioned. So usually they will have already completed, well, I wouldn't say all, but the majority of the preliminary SOA exams when they graduate, and they will continue to work on their ASA after graduation. Usually, I think around 1 to 2 years after they graduate and working in an insurance company. And at that point, they will continue their fellowship modules and exams. And as Dr. Watt mentioned, the whole process will take around 5 to 8 years for most students.
Yes, thank you so much. Yep. We might not have time for the remaining questions, but I believe you can email the SOA and the staff can contact everyone again. Yeah, thank you so much, Watt and David.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. So now it is time for our next session. In this session, Professor Goh will share the topic on actuarial science and data science modeling with Prophet, R, and Python software. Professor Goh is a passionate educator and teaches actuarial science at the University of California, San Diego, and UNSW. Hi. Can you hear me well? Not sure if there's any connection issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Professor Goh has received various teaching awards, including the Outstanding Adjunct Faculty Award by SMU, and was also nominated for the Most Promising Teacher Award. He volunteers on the Education and Career Committee and Retirement Committee at the Singapore Actuarial Society, and is the vice chair of the IFOA's Blockchain and FinTech Working Party, and mentors for the IMDA Singapore Digital Leadership Accelerator Mentorship Program. He is an excited founder and actively invests in and advises startups in Southeast Asia. He is a non-executive director with Risk Lighthouse International, a global risk consultancy firm. He is a co-PI for a MOE Tier 1 research grant that focuses on supporting Singaporean retirees to age with dignity. His research interest lies in the intersection of actuarial science, data science, blockchain, and climate risk. So please join me welcome Professor Go on stage.
Thank you very much, Ploy, for the kind introduction. Let me share my screen. Okay. I think it's sharing screen. Let me know if there are any issues. If not, yeah, I'll get right into it. So, great pleasure to be here today to have the chance to share the actual program and some of the teachings that we have at Singapore Management University. The slides is prepared by both myself and my colleague, Professor Kun Xing. So this will be the agenda for today's presentation. For today, I would really want to focus more on the breadth of what are the different things that we offer, specifically some of the courses that we teach using R software, using Python software, using the Prophet software. And if we have time, I also want to really share a bit about our actuarial science work study elective, which I think resonates very well with the earlier presentation by Dr. White and Dr. David. Thereafter, I'll conclude by sharing some of our future plans. So going right into it, I guess a very broad overview is we understand that in today's day and age, actuarial science is evolving very quickly, and knowing how to use some of this software is becoming more and more important in the real world context. So one of the first course, statistical learning with R, which was developed fully by my colleague, Professor Kwong. I'll share a bit about the course outline. So as you can see here in the course, we aim to introduce some statistic methodologies using the statistical software R, integrated into most topics of the courses. So every week when students come in, they'll be learning some of the theory. At the same time, they will be having some hands-on as well. So these are some of the texts and resources if you are interested to develop your own course using statistical learning with R at your home university. And this is how we assess it. We have your final exam, your class participation, but at the same time, we focus a lot on the students' group project to build on their teamwork, as well as some assignments for them to practice what they have learned in class. So here's our lessons plans. You can see that we start from some basic statistics probability. Thereafter, we went into some simple linear regression, multiple linear, various regression methods. Then we also teach them about decision trees, right? Starts to get a bit more sophisticated, which is what I have here. And as I mentioned, 60% of the time will be, for each lesson, will be on the concepts, the theories. Then thereafter, we teach them the hands-on R programming, which I think is something that's quite unique to us, because one thing we notice is for a lot of students, if they were to take some programming courses elsewhere, a lot of times they are just given a project and they just need to figure out how to apply the libraries. But if you ask them, how does the underlying math work behind like your decision tree, behind your linear regression, sometimes they don't really know. So that's why we think it's very important to know like what's happening inside the black box. So we focus a lot on teaching them about the theories. So for example, here's an example slides that we have in our course. So we want to teach them about the bias variance trade-off. So usually in class, we'll tell them to imagine that they are like playing a game of darts or an archery, and they have to aim for the red dot. So if their shots look like this, I'll ask them like, is this better or is the other chart better that you see here? Which one do they think would be better? Some students would say that maybe the left one is better. Some would say maybe the right side is better. Then some students, they will say like, both are not great, right? The one on the left, they are quite concentrated, but it's totally off. Then I'll share that that's what it means by when there's like high bias and a low variance. Whereas on the right, it's the opposite. You can see that on average, they are very spread out, but it's actually quite centralized. So it's low bias and high variance. And that's how we share with them this idea on the bias variance trade-off. And another important thing that we feel is important using these animations, right? As you can see, the code is very long when it comes to doing like a typical cross-validation approach, right? There's many lines of codes that we can see here. And sometimes it might be quite overwhelming for some students. So which is why we always try to digest it into like a flow chart that you can see here and let them know that actually those code is created based on this flow chart, the idea here, and it's something that we feel helps to make it easier for students to understand what's actually happening and what's the purpose. I feel that for all classes, it's important for students to know like what's happening, what's the purpose of what they are learning, for them to better understand and learn the concepts. Here are some example classwork and homework which test students what we have learned in class. Next, in terms of data science with Python is a course that I developed where we teach students about the latest various data science techniques using the Python software. So as you can see here, these are the various course descriptions again, where we focus more on the data science component because we also feel that as an actuarial science individual, it's increasingly important to realize that in the workplace, having some of this data science knowledge helps in terms of they are preparing themselves better for the workplace. And here are some of the learning objectives. And as you can see, there's actually quite a number. There's basics of Python programming, there's pandas, NumPy, visualizations, and there's different machine learning and even like neural networks concepts here. So and here's a typical data workflow that we have here. So this is usually what I show the students and let them know like this is the focus of what we'll be going through for our course. And as you can see, it's actually quite a lot of concepts that we have, topics that we want to cover. So our focus is really to get our students up to speed with some of the latest data science techniques. So again, here are some example slides on the data visualizations. So as you can see here, on the left, apart from just showing them like a nice fancy plot, we feel that it's also equally important to share with them some of the key insights that comes out from the plots, which we feel is very important when it comes to training a student's level of critical thinking. For example, asking them about the distribution variation. What does that mean? What can we imply? Right, then over here, it's usually like a process in class where it's all in animations, and then we ask students to provide their own inputs. Before the start of class, when we provide the slides, some of these key insights are left out, right? So students get to really provide they think in class when we have a discussion, and these are some of the key insights that we have. And thereafter, the full slides will then be shared with students for their revision. On the right here, you can see it's like a summary table, which I feel is quite useful, and the students have also provided quite positive feedback. So for everything that we teach, like for example, in terms of plots, you have your histogram, density plot, error bar plot. It's important to know like what these plots are useful for. So we have this column here, and at the same time, what can they be used for, right? What are some popular application examples? So this makes it easier for students when it comes to better understanding these techniques and how to apply them in the real world when they have to in their workplace. So it's all about better preparing our students for the working world. Next, apart from just data visualization, we also teach data science techniques in our course. We teach like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and also here we teach them neural networks which is quite a scary topic because for many of our students, this might be the first time that they learn about this topic of neural networks. So I feel it's very helpful when we have some animations to share with them, like maybe, for example, in this slide here, how does a recurrent neural network actually work? So here's like a very basic example with some real numbers that I plug in. Then I basically say that if you were to provide today's data, let's say if it's just one observation, you just pass it through. And because it's only one observation, it goes straight through to the output, right? And so the predicted value will then be 0, right? If you pass through, you do the math, you'll get 0. Next, the second example, right? I'll say if let's say we have 2 days worth of data, yesterday's and today's data. You first pass in yesterday's data, and thereafter, because there's a second data point, there will be an additional feedback loop that comes back into here, which together with the additional days worth of data, it will go through and finally pass through to get our output, right? So this is a very simple example in which how we try to make it easy for students to better visualize some of this like higher level topics like recurrent neural network, convolutional neural networks, right? Some of those different neural networks that we have in our class. And students, after going through this, it makes it so much easier for them to really be able to visualize what's actually happening underlying all these different black boxes. And here's actually a group project that is part of our assessment for the students. And I personally feel that this is quite a fun group project for our students. As you can see, there's different parts, right? There's part 1, part 2, part 3. So for part 1, the focus is really for our students to apply what they have learned in the data visualization. So as you can see here, when I set it group project up, is for them to be able to come up with a report that where the target audience is not for me, but it's for like the citizens of a country, the general public. So they have to be able to take the insights that they have, find the best way to visualize it such that it's easiest for some of this general public people to understand what's actually happening. So that's the first part of the group project, which again prepares them for the working world, right? In terms of communication, finding the best way to present what they know in the easy to understand manner. For part 2, is where the machine learning component comes in. So I basically get students to develop a lung cancer prediction model using a data set that I provide them, right? So they use that data set to come out with the training model. And thereafter, after everyone has submitted their prediction model, after the deadline, the next day, I'll actually release a test data set for the students, right? And students will then be required to run their submitted model on this test data set and come out with the test score to see how well their model actually performs on the test data set. And students find this part really interesting and fun because when they are training the model, they are training it for an unseen set of test model. And only after they have submitted it, we will pass them this test data set for them to apply and work on. And they find this part really fun and interesting. And basically the students' models that performs the best at this stage will get a few bonus credits. And finally, the last part is on presentation. So they will have to present some of the key findings that they have learned at this segment here. And here's how we structure our final exam. It's 3 hours, open book. And here are some of the sample questions that we have that test them what they have learned in class. Finally, we have this Prophet software workshop that we see here. To provide some context, I guess in Singapore or in the region for students, it's increasingly important for there to be some sort of industry collaboration. As our education minister, Minister Chan, mentioned in an article, that universities have to work harder to better connect with the world to create more opportunities for the students. For me, I consider myself very fortunate. I had a chance to participate in like a small group closed door dialogue with our Minister Chan as well. And during the discussion, he really went deep and focused a lot more on this idea here where he foresees in the next 2 decades, this will be an increasingly differentiating factor for universities because students realize that a lot of times they are increasingly aware that going to universities, they get a certificate, but the purpose of that, they are more and more aware that the certificate is just a gateway to the working world. So universities that are best able to capitalize on these relationships will become increasingly more attractive, right, to the student pool, the demand from students. So in light of this, we are quite lucky. We actually had a chance to collaborate with FIS, a Fortune 500 company, where we basically use their software, the Profit software, to develop actuarial talent with practical skill at SMU. So for some context, right, for those who do not know, Profit software is a very popular software used to model like life products, right? It can be used to model GI as well, but at least in Singapore, 8 out of the top 10 life insurers actually use the Profit software in their day-to-day work, right? The actuaries use this software in their modeling of the cash flows, to do valuation, to do pricing, all that stuff. And we have been in this collaboration with FIS since 2021, and since then, we have trained about 50 plus students in the software since then, and students find being able to use this software, they find that it's more beneficial. It helps them prepare themselves better for the workforce, and when they go for interviews, being able to say that they have some exposure to this software makes them more attractive, right, in the market. So again, here are some these are some real workshop materials that we have. This is to highlight that having effective utilization of diagrams and timelines, students find it easier to digest what's happening, right? Again, a visual, more visual rather than just filled with text. Similarly, what we did here is the core focus of this workshop, where is essentially we provided students with a scenario and provided them with some inputs, and we first did the modeling on Excel, right, on our traditional Excel format, and we got a set of outputs. Thereafter, we actually went through with students, how do we do the same modeling on profit instead? And the objective is so that we do the same modeling on profit and we get the same output. So students get to really see that given the same scenario, the same inputs, they are able to get the same outputs from either an Excel or the profit. But in the way of doing so, they will come to appreciate that using profit to do the modeling is a lot faster, a lot more convenient, a lot more efficient. So it helps them to appreciate why people actually use profit, which again goes back into the idea where I feel it's always important to share with students why they are learning something in the first place. And finally, go into the Actuarial Science Work Study elective. So for context, this is an elective that we launched. It has nothing to do with programming or coding, but we feel that it's a program that is very well received by our students. So here's a structure, right? Under the Actuarial Science Work Study elective, students, they will be engaged in a structured working experience with one of our partner companies that we onboard for 4 days a week for a period of 5 to 6 months, right? 20 to 24 weeks. So we can see it's not a short-term, typical 10 weeks internship, right? It's a long-term, 20 to 24 weeks. And at the end of the elective, they will be evaluated by the partner firm. And the most important thing that we feel about this is that this Actuarial Science Work Study elective, it comprises of 2 academic credits, and students only need to work 4 days a week. What does this actually mean, right? What's the impact of this as compared to a traditional long-term 6 months internship where students work 5 days a week, right? The key differentiating factor that we came out with this is because we intentionally structure it such that they only have to work for 4 days a week, such that during the term time, right, during those 20 to 24 weeks, when students have to go to school, they do not need to take a leave of absence, right? Instead, they will come back to SMU and they will be taking 2 courses, right? Which translates to 2 extra academic credits. So what this means is that during that semester, students will be working. At the same time, they will be able to earn 4 academic credits, which is a normal workload for the students, right? And that implies that they will be able to gain a long-term work experience and fulfill their graduation requirement. And they are able to graduate on time, right? So the biggest differentiating factor here is that students get a longer term experience working without having to delay their graduation requirement, right? They can graduate on time, they get this real world working experience, and that's the reason why we came out with this program in the first place, is really because even back when I was a student, or even when some of our students, when they want to do internships, right, so that they can get better jobs in the workplace, because so that they can better expose themselves to the real working world and better understand like what's the different a lot of time they do not really know what type of jobs they want to do, life or GI, pricing or valuation, or whether they even want to stay in actuarial science, right? So doing internship is a very good way for students to really understand what's happening. And I think this resonates very well with the earlier presentation by Dr. Watt and Dr. David. So however, the issue many a times is students say that if it's a short-term internship of maybe 10 weeks, they do that over the summer. Sometimes 10 weeks is too short, right? You don't really get as much exposure. But the problem with taking a 20 weeks to 24 weeks internship traditionally is that students will then have to take a leave of absence from school, and thereafter they have to delay their graduation usually, right? Because they miss school by one term, they have to extend their graduation by another term. So it became really like an issue of which is best, right? Which one should they choose? Should they try to graduate on time with less holistic work experience, or should they try to extend their graduation just to be able to get more working experience? So that's why we came out with this program, so that students, they're able to get that longer term experience, right? Being able to work 4 days a week, and at the same time, they get to do that without having to delay their graduation, because they're able to fulfill their usual graduation requirement per term, right? The academic load. So far we have onboarded more than 5 industry partners, and more than 10 students have benefited from this program since we launched the first cohort just last year. And we are looking forward to engage with more industry partners and benefit more students in years to come. And finally, some future plans. I just want to end off with the idea where a lot of times, for us, we want to further improve our curriculum for our students, particularly make them more industry ready, make them more hireable, right? When it comes to looking for internships, looking for fresh graduate opportunities. At the same time, I also want to highlight that over at SMU, we are always open to having like collaborations with different universities and partners, industry partners, which I believe is in the audience here today, so that we can achieve some like win-win, some synergies, right? So if there's anyone who's interested in like collaborating, feel free to drop me an email. Happy to have a chat over coffee, or if you are in different countries, we can like have a Zoom as what we are doing now. I'll end here. Yeah, open up to questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goh. That's very insightful. So to the audience, you please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. So no questions right now. So I have some questions with me, Dr. Goh. So how do you see the role of actuaries evolving as data science and AI technologies become more prominent in financial and insurance sectors?
Right, that's a great question, Floyd. Thanks for the question. I think that's really the part of how actuaries, right, their roles evolve. As these days we have more and more like usage of data science and AI technologies. Personally, I feel that AI and data science are really transforming the role of actuaries, right? From modelers, traditionally we are modelers, to now I feel that with AI data science, we now become more like what we call strategic interpreters of complex data sets, right? We have big data sets, so from modelers to strategic interpreters. So actuaries' expertise in risk uniquely position us to better bridge advanced machine learning with real-world applications. And this ensures that insights are robust, ethical, regulatory compliant. So I think that's really one of the key things that we have to do. And furthermore, I think moving forward, with the whole work from home, work from office, different international global expansion, I think we'll be leading hybrid teams. At the same time, we'll be combining like actual rigor with AI's predictive power. So perhaps I might even suspect that in the future, in a team, you might not just have actuaries, you might have like people from different departments, from data science department, working together to come out with a good solution. And also in terms of areas that will be working, because with the power of data science and AI, I think we are able to better, with the strong computation power, actuaries can really expand well into areas like climate risk, cyber risk, insurtech, and being able to master various AI tools, which I think is very important, which is why at SMU we teach students the data science with Python type of courses. Being able to master these tools, actuaries can design models that are easily interpretable, be able to create innovative products like dynamic pricing, personalized risk assessments for individuals. So it becomes a more fair type of pricing. And I just want to end off, I feel that actuaries will still remain indispensable in shaping the future of risk management. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Totally agree. Like at Prudential Thailand, we have actual teams and data science team, and we start to working more and more closely.
It's great to hear.
Okay, the second question here, how much focus do you place on teaching software, which is R, Python, and Prophet to students versus teaching traditional actual concepts and techniques to the students?
Sure. Yeah, again, a great question, Ploy. I believe in striking. I don't think one is more important than the other. I always feel that a balance between the two is key. The teaching software like your R, Python, Prophet, we equip students with the practical in-demand skills to handle these real-world data sets and apply like this advanced analytics. However, these tools are only as powerful as the concepts and techniques that underpin their usage. Right. So you can have the tool, but if you do not know the theory behind it, it might not be that useful. So our focus, especially at SMU, is we try to integrate the two. Right. We try to ensure that students can understand the traditional actual principles, which also helps them prepare them for the SOA exams, while at the same time using this modern software, R, Python, Prophet, to enhance their efficiency and applicability to the real world. So by doing so, we better prepare them to adapt to industry changes while ensuring that they stay rooted in the profession's the core strength of the profession, which is really in like risk management, financial modeling, that type of things. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
The last question here, what feedback have you received from your industry partners regarding the readiness of the students participating in the work study elective?
Thank you. I think industry partners, they have, at least from the industry partners that we have so far, they have been very positive about the preparedness of our students that join this work study elective. They have given personally to me the praise the students' strong foundational knowledge in the actual concepts and their ability to apply some of the software that they use at work, like Prophet, like R, Python. So the feedback is really a lot of times is on their adaptability, professionalism, and how well they're able to solve problems, right? Which I think is very important skills for the real world. That said, some partners have noted that even though like maybe technical skills are very good, maybe because they are still young, there might still be some room for improvement in terms of like soft skills like communication, business acumen, kind of things, which I think is very fair. So we are also actively incorporating some of these key insights to improve the program, ensuring that our students are both technically proficient and ready for the industry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so no more Q&A. So to the audience, you please feel free to email Dr. Goh that he can help answer your questions. So thank you so much, Dr. Goh.
Thank you. I just see a couple on the those Q&A. Or I see Karanjit asking how many licenses are provided by FIS. Am I
Yeah, I mean, not sure, but I can see on my screen on the Q&A box, but you please,
okay,
yeah,
sure.
you can see.
Yeah, I think the questions are quite related. So right now we are getting 10 name license, right? Just a very simple answer. We started with 5, but they are slowly increasing it over the collaboration. Another attendee says this is a 1 semester course. For the data science, I would think so. I assume that's referring to the data science. Yes, it is. So we try to again go for like for that it's really more like introduction, very broad course. So yes, and how do we recruit actual students? There are so many students now going to the DS and ML fields. So that's a great point. For us, we always try to focus on our roots. Where we one thing personally I've shared with students, I feel like actuarial science really trains you in terms of having that strong roots, and I think the exams that they have to take is another way that they can differentiate themselves. And anyone can say they are scientists, but you can only really say that you're an actuary if you are able to pass and get the exams. So these are some different ways that we try to share with students. But yeah, definitely open to learning from everyone else here as well. Open to more ideas. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah. I think we're running out of time as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Goh.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
So now, please let me introduce you to the speakers for the next session. In the session, Joey and Wenjun will share the topic on integrating experience-based learning in actual science education at NTU. Joey is an associate professor practicing insurance, actuarial science, and risk management at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, a fully qualified actuary and a certified financial risk manager. Joey has nearly 2 decades of experience across the insurance, reinsurance, and public sectors. Before transitioning to full-time academia, he held various roles within the insurance value chain, including actuarial functions, product development, distribution services, business management, and marketing. Joey's research focuses on retirement protection, life and health risks, and climate risk. While Wenjun, he is a tenure associate professor at Nanyang Business School. She is the Deputy Head of Division of Banking and Finance and Deputy Director of the Insurance Risk and Finance Research Center at NBS. Wenjun received her PhD in the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, University of Waterloo in 2015. Wenjun is the winner of the Society of Actuaries James C. Hickman Scholar and the 2023 Actuarial Science Early Career Award. She is an associate editor of Annals Actuarial Science. She has been publishing in leading academic journals including Management Science, Insurance, Mathematics, and Economics, North American Actuarial Journal, Journal of Risk and Insurance, ASTIN Bulletin, and Journal of Banking and Finance. So please let me welcome Joni and Wenjun on the stage. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I just want to double check whether you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Sure, that's cool. I will start first, then I will pass it to my colleague Wenjun. So really today we are going to talk about the experience-based learning in our school, as well in some of the courses we are teaching. Just a brief background of the actuarial science at NTU, because I'm aware that there are about 30 or rather 45 participants, just in case you are new, you haven't heard about our school before or our courses before. Here's a very short summary. So the actuarial science program at NTU is one of the most reputable undergraduate program here. The program started more than 30 years ago, started in the early 90s. The first batch, when we trace back the histories, there were 14 students. Many of them, or these are pioneer leaders or graduates, become the leader of the industries. Many of them have been chief actuaries, and some of them are CEOs, CDOs or CIOs of the insurers and reinsurers, some for local business and some for global business. So since then, the program has grown sustainably over the past 3 decades. Currently, we have about 40 graduates every year. So our actuarial science program, as you can see on the screen, has been accredited by the Institute of Faculty of Actuaries in UK since 2012, and then by SOA, Center of Actuarial Excellence program since 2022. So this presentation is crafted with a personal touch. Wenjun and I, we wanted to dedicating our work in memory of late Professor Tan Kin Sing, our dear friends, our colleagues who left us early this year. I believe some of us here today know him, and some of us here today attended the APAC Actuarial Teaching Conference in Bangkok I think about 2 years ago, right? So as you can see the picture, he shared about the interdisciplinary collaborative core program in the U, which is encourage our students, to learn not just actual domain, but also have exposure to other domains. He is a strong believer in providing enriched experience to our students beyond just theoretical learnings. So our ongoing work extension that aims to provide more enriched experience to our students. So here, just back to it's probably stage 0, where you're talking about the undergraduate education values and attributes. I'm aware that at the university we seldom or we're less talking about this. Where in a primary school or maybe kindergartens, the school teachers and many of the program design are in accordance to some of the high level values. So here, just back to stage 1, let us think about what is the values we wanted to give to our students. As you can see on the screen, this is what NTU highlights. We are not just providing the technical competence, but also the building the characters and also the cognitive agilities, such as creativities, intellectual curiosities. Really is to grow our students as a person, right? Who wanted to learn, who are able to innovate, who wanted to service, help others and help the societies. And it is hard to teach them, to tell them to do, teach them to be innovative. Rather, is create experience-based learning opportunities to give our future actuaries, a growth learning mindset, and also a drive for innovation, and also a purpose to serve others. So really, we believe the learning is not just within or beyond the classroom. Rather, is create multiple touch points to let them to try. Some are structured, some are unstructured. But really, is to give them the exposure to learn beyond what is professor taught in the classroom. So here I'm going to talk about some examples, in the classroom setting, what we do, beyond the theoretical learnings, and some examples of our company visits, which is a little bit like MBA style. Also student-led international competition. After that, we'll pass to my colleague Wenjun to talk about the credit-bearing internships, and also some of the fascinating research opportunities with our undergraduate students. Right. In a classroom setting, right, especially when we're talking about actuarial modules, there's a lot of theory to learn. But often, students come to us, why do we learn that, right? Some of the theories are like 100 years old. But really, I think, some of the theories they have to learn. So this is a real example in one of the, class I taught this semester just ends, which is part of actuarial statistics. And some of the proofs, some of the examples, they have to learn, right? But that is just sets the foundations. And the next step is to share why they want to learn this. And when they go out to work, or even before they join any internships, which industry or which kind of roles they would use, which part of the theory they learn in the class. So here is a collaboration with my industry colleagues. On the screen, this is the very seasoned PNC actuary from Berkeley Re. He came to us and shared about his journey, as well as share about some of the statistical applications in the general insurance work. It's quite clear, the real industry work is different from, or slightly different from, the practices and proofs learned in the class, right? So here is one example. Our industry speaker share about what's actually real applications doing their day-to-day work, where again echoes the foundation is important. This helps our students to understand why they want to learn those theory, and why they need, what is the important aspect from the learning point of view. Again, this is another example from industry colleagues from Willis Towers Watson. They share about different statistical practice in a consultancy in the not just GI but also live practice. In this example, you can see on the screen, this is our one of our NTU alumni, Kling from Willis Towers Watson, sharing about how they do about the predictive modeling using statistical theories behind. Again, some real examples about what's happening in the industry and what they need to know in order to leverage their experience and knowledge in order to understand those so-called application work when they join either internship or join the industry work. So again, here is really to to put more practice element, not just from the professor ourselves, but also from some of the selected industry players to share about what really matters about learning the theory and why they wanted to learn it, and also hopefully to create more interest for our future actuaries, to join the industry again in the near future. Another example is company visits. As you can see on the screen, these are the two examples. We bring our students to talk to the companies and to learn about the insights from each of the individual companies. Some are project based. So for the first example, like the visits to QBE, which is one of the general insurance players very active in Singapore. We are in discussion talking about some projects relating to the risk on AI applications. Some are just for the sharings, also in collaboration with other societies. The example is just last week, we went to the Shopee's office, which we hear the professionals from C Money or C Insure. They share about how they start the new insurance companies and insurance distributions and actual practice in Philippines and Indonesia. They are headquartered in Singapore. And one more thing I just wanted to highlight here is student-led international competitions. We are working on since I think last year. So this is the international insurance case competition, a collaboration with NTU and Global Asia Insurance Partners, which is the tripartite organization. So we started the competition for students, right? About 1 year ago. That was the first one in Singapore. It offers to only Singapore university students, not just NTU, but also Singapore university students, as well as the high school students. And it was pretty successful. And last year, or rather a few months ago, we expanded to ASEAN countries. So as you can see on the screen, we did one pretty successful one about the AI-focused insurance competitions. We invited rather about more than 400 students, join the competition. About more than 100 teams. 11 university teams joined the final, and where more than half are actually coming from non-Singapore, coming from Thailand, coming from Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, etc. And so we hold the grand final in August 2024 in Singapore, and this is student-led. So there's a group of students practice leadership skills, marketing skills, etc. Because some of the marketing of the events, our students drive it, including engaging and hiring the key opinion leaders in Instagrams to to market this competitions to students across Singapore, not just NTU, but including NUS, SMU, SIM, etc. So the one of the key differentiator for this competition is we have a platform, and we also facilitate the mentorship for the shortlisted team. In the examples here, we can see, our student participants, right? Those are shortlisted team. They are interacting with the senior industry players in the market. Them helping them, to enhance, their case proposals for the final. And in the examples on the left side of the screen, you can see, our students, rather the students from various Singapore universities, but also, some of the, industry players or senior professionals, working, holding, very interesting roles in the industry and willing to help our students. On the right hand is another example, basic mentorship, virtual mentorship for a team from Thailand, from the Jing Rong Goh University. So again, we wanted to have this sort of engagement because through this, our students and will learn more, and our industry players, one of our key stakeholders, they will know our student more. Right, and this is going to be win-win. So as I mentioned, the final round was in Singapore, and where the winners also showcased in the Singapore Actuarial Conference just a few months ago, where about 500 industry actuaries attended the conference. So moving ahead, we are expanding not just to Southeast Asia, to APAC, including East Asia and Australia as well. So here is just a heads up that some of you probably has already been reached out by me or my colleague Professor Xing Ji. We are going to inviting or discussing about collaborations with a number of universities across the region. So we would like the host universities of each country to do a country round, and the winners will go to the final round in Singapore. Physically, right, will come to our beautiful NTU campus, interact with the students in Singapore, and also compete, also to share the ideas that they will come, and attractive prices, and also it's a fantastic networking event, not only for students but also for the mentors and faculty members of the students. So more news will be coming up. Hopefully they can get your support, personally to mentor your student or to encourage your student to join this program. Yeah, more news will be coming out early next year. Next, I would like to pass it to my colleague, Professor Wenjun.
Thank you, Joey. I'll follow Joey's presentation by focusing on our credit-bearing internship program, as well as some research-based teaching that happens in NTU. So this work-study degree program was something that we initiated during the pandemic period. So the approval process was not really easy, during pandemic lockdown. But fortunately, we launched that. So it's been running for a couple of years, and it's very successful and well received by our industry partners. So the idea of this work-study degree program is that we want students to have a more intensive and long period of internship with our corporate partners, for them to learn while they do intern, and apply what they learn in class, in classroom, in textbook, to real business applications. So it's a very long internship. So I gave a timeline example here, which starts from the beginning of the year, say February 2025, when many of our corporate partners will start to post their work-study degree program job opportunities, and students can apply through our internal system and our career office colleagues will be very helpful to disseminate all these internship opportunities to our students and help them with their application as well as their interview preparation process. And the work study degree program will start roughly May, say 2025, and it will last for can be up to 35 weeks until end of 2025. Some students even do a few weeks longer, right until the beginning of the next semester. So this is just an example of the timeline. So it can be very flexible. Some students do internship in the beginning of the year, so the application process starts say the second half of 2025, for example. So they can choose to do their internship either in their first semester or second semester, depending on their own arrangement of their schedule and curriculum. So the whole idea of this work study program is to provide students a fast track career development in the insurance and finance industry, because a lot of students who participate in this work study degree program not only learn their academic credits through this program, but also the either extend their internship or get a return offer through this internship opportunity. So it really enhanced the students' placement in the industry. Next slide, please. So this is our credit-bearing internship program. And in NTU, we also have a lot of good opportunities to integrate the faculty research expertise into their teaching. And personally, I'm a fan of this research integrated teaching idea, because I firmly believe that academic excellence can only be achieved through a beneficial interplay between teaching and research, and which can help stimulate students' curiosity and inspire them to learn more. So through the research integrated teaching, students can get exposed to cutting-edge knowledge and methodologies, that is going on in the academia. It can enhance students' critical thinking and problem-solving skills and improve their independent working ability, and stimulate their intellectual curiosity. It can also help students to develop their transferable skills, which will be very useful for their future career or future study, no matter whether they want to pursue postgraduate study or they want to work in the industry directly. It can also encourage collaboration and innovation through different projects. Next slide, please. So in NTU, the research integrated teaching can be either conducted in a more ad hoc way, where students can do research projects through some of their existing course projects, either through case studies, where Joey has introduced a lot of examples. These projects are mostly small scale based, and which encourage students to apply some theory that they learn in classroom to real world problems. So for example, in some of my courses, I designed the projects to ask students, for example, to design a portfolio optimization strategy for them to conduct sustainable investment funds. And in some of my projects, I also ask students to model extreme weather events, and help and ask them to design some index-based or parametric-based index insurance, and using their either actuarial or financial engineering pricing techniques to price these new products that they design. In some other examples, students can do research in a more structured way, and where they can also earn their academic credits. So in these more structured research projects, for example, in the Eureka project that I will introduce in the next slide, these are capstone projects and very long and in-depth research opportunities, which can help students develop and enhance their research skills, which will help them, which will be very helpful for their future academic and career development. So next slide, please. Yeah. So this is a Eureka project that I mentioned. It's it's short for the undergraduate research experience on campus. In the picture below, you will see the timeline. So you can see it's a very, very long, research process, project which lasts as long as 11 months, where students need to apply research projects every end of July every year, where faculty members will be posting their research proposal online, and students can choose the projects depending on their research interest. And then they conduct research, with the supervision and help of our faculty members. And throughout the year, and they earn credits if they get a very promising or interesting results. They also have the opportunity to present their research projects either through some poster sections, or they can present annual Eureka conferences. So yeah, next slide, please. So here I give some example of some past projects that I have supervised. Students, who participate in this Eureka, they have opportunity to present their research results, even either in academic presentations. So for example, this is one student I supervised, Zhang Xiong. He in his projects, he used some satellite-based data, very innovative data sets to enhance the prediction of mortality. He not only presented his research in the Eureka annual conference, he also presented in Longevity 19 in Amsterdam. So in his own testimonial, he said this Eureka project really enriched his undergraduate journey and helped his internship as well as academic research. Yeah, next slide, please. Some of our Eureka students also got the opportunity to present their research to our industry partners. For example, this student, King Liang, he also did the Eureka project with me, where he investigated how the climate factors impact mortality. And he got invited by our important partner, Global Asia Insurance Partnership, to conduct a technical workshop to present his research to all the JIP partners. King Liang also said that this research experience is very transformative to him. He got the passion and the knowledge for research, which also built the foundation and confidence for him to explore, more unknown and challenges in the future. Both of these students developed their research interest, and they decided to continue to pursue their postgraduate studies after they graduate from NTU. Yeah, that's all we prepare for our presentation today. Thank you for your attention, and we are ready to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Joey, Professor Wenjun. So we have some Q&A session. So everyone, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box. And then I have some questions on my hand as well. So what strategies do you use to involve industry professionals in the classroom?
Maybe I will take it. I think in terms of the looking for the right industry players, from NTU, from my perspective, it's not difficult. Because number one, I personally work in the industry for close to 20 years. I know a lot of people, and also from NTU perspective, we do have a lot of alumni. And lastly, beyond the insurance industry, I'm personally teaching the executive education, which train middle to senior managers across the financial industry. So a lot of people actually around there. I think the key thing is to filter out, who's the right candidate to come, and who has the interest, the passion to come and share with the students. I think that is probably spending more time thinking about that, rather than whether we can get enough people to come to our school. And also in collaboration of the industry societies is another angles we are working on. So for instance, the Singapore Actuarial Society's data analytics committee, they are very keen, in terms of involving in the student education to so-called to nurture the next generation of so-called data experts in the insurance sectors. So just last week, I had a conversation with them. We are looking into some collaborations programs, not only for NTU students, but of course students in Singapore. So that's another learnings, I just wanted to point out, leveraging with the industry, collaboration with the industry association, that sometimes, can be very helpful.
Thank you. As we are running out of time, maybe the last question. So how do you find industry partners to conduct a work study program?
I think this question follows Joey's comment about how do we match our industry partners. Besides what have mentioned by Joey, in our work study degree program and in MBS, we have a career office who can help establishing maintaining existing partnership, as well as establishing new partnerships with our corporate partners who are interested in joining our work study degree program. We also have strong alumni networking where we can talk through our alumni office to talk to potential alumni who are working in the industry in a very senior management leadership positions. So they will be very helpful because they are alumni and our past students, for example. So they are very supportive to either maintain or establish these partnerships. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Joey and Professor Wenjun. Yeah, thank you. So now please let me introduce you to our speaker for the next session, Xiao Xu. Xiao currently serves as a senior lecturer in the School of Risk and Actuarial Science at the University of New South Wales, Australia, and is an international research manager at the SOA Research Institute. Her research interests are centered on variable annuities, risk management, and deep learning. Before joining UNSW in 2020, Xiao had years of industry work experience in life insurance, consulting business, and VC entrepreneurship. She earned her PhD at UNSW, an MSc from Johns Hopkins, and a BBA from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She also holds several professional qualifications, including Chartered Financial Analyst, Chartered Accountant Australia, Fellow of the Institute of Actuaries of Australia, Certified Public Accountant USA, Financial Risk Manager, Fellow of the Society of Actuaries, and a Chartered Enterprise Risk Analyst. So Xiao will share the topic on the UNSW's educational initiatives and development. Please join me. Welcome Xiao on stage.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this session. So I'm Xiao Xu, and today we're going to talk about empowering excellence in actuarial education. So in today's presentation, we're going to share some of recent innovations in UNSW. And the aim of the talk today is to provide a brief yet effective high-level summary and to you, all of you. And if you do wanted to have more details, please, you are more than welcome to reach out to me afterwards. So here's the agenda we're going to follow today. So we have the active agenda, right? So we're going to start with the actual career readiness. As educators, we have seen that the skill sets required today for actual graduates have been slowly changing recently. Like in Australia, we have seen more and more graduates trying to join the data science rather than the traditional actuarial companies. And also we'll share some of things we collaborate with our industry partners, including the co-op program, sandbox model, and also professional organizations like SOA and Actuarial Institute. And we're also going to share how we thrive in the real world competitions. So some of you have been knowing that we UNSW have been very successful in last couple of years participating in the SOA Research Challenge. So for a full disclaimer, we won't systematically participate in 2025. But of course, in today's session, we wanted to give you some tips and sharing some of the resources with the rest of you faculty members who wanted to participate next year. And also we'll talk about some of the innovative learning principles, like some of the tips we have been used post-COVID, like we have conducted a lot of classes online, in hybrid, and also in person, some of engaging the classroom techniques in terms of pedagogy perspectives. And also we'll touch upon briefly on versatile technology literacy, how we're going to teach R, Excel, Python, all these technology software commonly used in actual work to the students. And also the last point we're going to share is the emerging trends. We're going to share two topics today, two important topics here. One is the generative AI, and the other one is sustainability goals, SDG goals. Okay, so let's get started and dive into the actuarial career readiness. So compared to 2 decades ago, we have definitely seen, we used to have a lot of actuaries join the insurance industries like life and health insurance companies, GI, general insurance, property casualty insurance companies, superannuation. We call that superannuation in Australia, but it's actually pension fund, and also wealth management, investment, health, financial service, and banking. But nowadays, we have seen more and more of graduates going into some high growth industries like data science, like energy resources, commodity modeling, and climate risk modeling, climate scientists, some related areas. And we also see more and more actuaries taking more C-level roles, positions like CEOs, CFOs, CIOs. But the core skill sets were still, basically we required our students to have are still there, right? The first one is the problem solving skills. So we start from identify the problem and how to solve the problems with appropriate assumptions, modelings are still very important in today's environment. And also communication skill is very important, right? So the communication skills, how our actual students will be able to convey the information clearly and concisely, right? In both of the verbally and writing are also important. Also teamwork skills, right? So we know that actuaries usually work in teams. We collaborate our skills to work together, not only necessarily in actuarial department, but also accounting, finance, technology, all these departments, and with other people in other departments, but how to effectively collaborate together. And also in my previous class, I have the honor to invite Ms. Ling Wang, the retired chief actuary from Ping An Group. So one thing she taught me in my guest lecture is the important skill of adaptability. So according to her, right, so some of the things, principles can be applied 20 years ago may not be entirely suitable for today's situation. So how we adjust and adapt is the last important skill we need to have for our student. So in terms of enhance the career focused experience, we primarily use sandbox model in our class to have industry partner to come to class to have a real world problem and allow students to solve together in groups. And we also have Bachelor of Co-op program, the Master Industry Experience program to facilitate the internship experiences as well. And also in every class, we have guest lectures, as I previously mentioned, like Ling Wang, and also Australian government actuary Guy Thorman has been a recurring guest speaker in my control cycle class. So in terms of collaboration, we rely a lot on our local industry partners. Similarly, like in the Singapore setting, like previously, like Wenjun and Joey, the colleagues from Singapore shared. So these local industry partners are key employers for our students in graduation. So we rely them a lot in terms of sponsor our co-op program and also the master internship program. For the co-op program, we typically have like 10 local, the undergrad students intake each year. And throughout these 4 years of study, each of them will be completing 3 internships in 3 different companies. And we also have recently developed this international students program called the Master Experience Program. So this is aimed to provide the opportunity for the international students to complete 1 industry internship as the course unit. And because these are only like can take limited number of students, so we typically target at high achiever students with minimum grades required. And on the other hand, we can also collaborate with the SOA, Society of Actuaries, and also local actuaries bodies. Like in Australia, we have the Australian Institutes. So you can, as from the actuarial educator faculty perspective, we can apply for the UEC, like the program accreditation, and it actually gives us some more accreditation recognition from the professional perspective. And also there are also a lot of opportunities for student memberships. So as far as I know, that the SOA provides affiliated memberships, and the Actuaries Institute in Australia provides free memberships to the college students as well. So this is a great way that the like newsletters can definitely keep them engaged with the industry. And also CAE, apply for the CAE status can give you a lot of opportunities as well, like exam fee reimbursement, scholarships. And starting this year, as far as I know, that Hickman Scholarship Program also have started to provide the international PhD scholarships outside the North America region. So this year we have one PhD student in US will get it. So this is, thank you, SOA. So this is a very good opportunity as well. And SOA also usually hosts conferences in like all local Asia a lot, like annually. And as academics, if we registration, we have a discount, right, for these conferences. And we have also the Strategic International Research Grant Program, which provide research grants, research fundings to provide the research outputs to benefit local actuaries. So if you're interested in research grants, also please feel free to let me know and reach out to me. And here are some of the snapshot of our current sponsors. We have APRA, which is our regulator. Also, we have EY, the Big Four Consulting, Swiss Re Reinsurance. We have TAL, which is the Australian Life, the largest life insurance providers in Australia. So you can see that include all areas of the actuarial work. And also for the Sandbox program. So some of you have known this Sandbox program from my colleague Kevin Liu's talk. So what is a Sandbox program? The Sandbox program is a platform connecting students, academics, and industry to solve the real world challenges. So it facilitates hands-on and challenge-driven education. So the industry partner will come into a classroom, directly present a meaningful problem to be solved by the students in groups. And it can cover a wide range of outputs. It could be the proofs of concept, like the software development, slide deck presentations, video presentations, or the papers, the white papers. So the benefit of this is, of course, it facilitates the three-way collaborations among students, academics, and industry. So you can see that in the future, a lot of academics can collaborate with industry partners to apply for some research grant, like industry research funding programs. And also for students, there are a lot of benefits as well, because we only invite the top performing students to go on and present the solutions to the industry partners directly, and to seek more feedback and have a deeper engagement session. So there are the opportunities for them to build these long-term partnerships, internships, like unlock future internships, and also mentoring opportunities. So the beauty of the Sandbox program is, rather than only a small number of students we can engage through the co-op program or the Master of Internship program. So this is a real way to engage all the students in your class, right? Of course, like when the industry partner comes to give you the problem, the more interested students in the class will put in more efforts, and they will be subsequently invited to present, to have a more interactive session with the industry partner directly. And you may find some of the Sandbox details in the link here, right? So we have Sandbox is a quite wide range of programs, not only in actuarial, but also in banking and finance and information systems. So you can see that's why we get Microsoft and Salesforce as the sponsors as well. So another aspect we wanted to share today is, of course, we call the thriving the real world competitions. So the UNSW has been very successful in recent years, participating in the SOA Research Challenge. So SOA Research Challenge is definitely a great opportunity for students to apply their actuarial skills on a real world problem in a business setting. And so this kind of problem is a multifaceted problem, right? It's a complex problem, and it will require the students to put together a team to solve this. And I would say the students need to understand and select from the potential data sources to develop the best models, appropriate models, and what kind of metrics you wanted to use to measure the long-term performance. And then they also need to be able to summarize the results and present the recommendations in a written report. They typically also seek guidance from the faculty advisors to help them from the overall approach. But because they need to showcase their creativity and there's no single best solutions in dealing with this kind of problems, so basically we need to let them to be able to master their own solutions, right? So there are also other competitions related to actuarial studies available around the world, like the Munich Ray Cup. So this one can be participated in groups or in individual settings. And also the Spencer Risk Management Challenge is another one for the UG, the undergrad students, and also CFA Research Challenge, also very connected. So here's the tips I wanted to share with our faculty colleagues. So how did I facilitate the classroom, kind of embed this SOA research challenge in my class? So I introduced GitHub repository to facilitate the group project collaboration. So what do we mean by GitHub repository? So GitHub Classroom is a free software tool available to all faculty members. So I built a classroom in GitHub, and then each student group is required to create a team repository to store all their works. And then basically after submission, they need to make the content accessible and make a team showcase website. So you can see that there's a range of topics back in 2022 and 23 and 24. So back in 2022, the range of topics are very innovative. You can see that 2022, the Qatar World Cup, we have to construct a national football team. And in 2023 is a social climate insurance program, promote the societal purpose. And also in 2024, for back to the traditional life and insurance topic, like the health wellness program. And so the primary assumption is basically the flow of the SOA research challenge is the actual control cycle. So basically depend on, like what's the problem is about. You need to be very clear in terms of defining the problem, designing the solution, and monitoring the results. So if you wanted to systematically embed this one, like the research challenge in your class, you may also wanted to have some milestone tasks and also to provide some feedback to the students, like how you set up the assumptions, whether these are credible, and what are the best modeling approach given the data provided. So I call this, like the industry case, the SOA competition case study, and also the GitHub, we call that the industry case hub. So you can actually see all our past 3-year solutions shared in the public repositories. So if you wanted to participate in 2025 SOA Research Challenge, you might find these resources helpful. So I wanted to also share some of the innovative learning principles we use to engage students in terms of tips in teaching. And it also resonated a lot of the topics like shared by Watt previously on the experiential learning. So in terms of the online classes, we typically use a story wall approach. So it's also invented by Kevin. So the story wall approach is basically an online forum. So the teacher will pose a question at the starting point, and then each student will need to respond to that question before seeing other people's responses. And then in order to complete this assessment, they need to respond to the teacher's question and also reply to at least one of their peers' posts, right? So because of technology advancement, we can now also incorporate all these media like pictures, videos, but essentially it's like the stacking the posts together. So we call that story wall. So the good things about using this approach is it facilitates like peer-to-peer engagement, especially in large class, that it is very difficult to reach out to provide the attentions to everybody. So they can learn from each other and build an interactive discussion together. And also for in-person classes, like small classes size, you can adopt this role play approach. like in some of the topics, you can think about like climate risk management, also like ethical dilemmas, right? Students will take on different roles in a situation and engage in some negotiations or the debates. So for example, they can take the roles of regulators, the actuary, citizens, customers, right? So it would be a great way to provide some aspects from different viewpoints, like basically perspectives from different stakeholders, and also it could improve their negotiation and communication skills in class. Another aspect is called the gamification. So gamification, if you have attended to a lot of pedagogy talks, you can see that this is an idea comes a lot in pedagogy. So what it is, right? So gamification defines as learning through games, challenges, and interactive scoreboards. And it can be very small scales. For example, if you have the in-class participation, you can just like casually hand out the UNO cards to award students in-class participation. It also can be like something bigger, like solving the problem quest or achieving milestones. And in UNSW, it can be basically the purpose is to make the learning process more fun. And it can be very in large scales as well. So to provide you an example is we have in UNSW, in terms of teaching the first year economics class, our economics colleagues have built this very large scale open world 3D games called Play Economics, right? So they actually run the entire first year economics class on this platform. So the thousands of students have used this platform, and it is basically also can motivate students learning through this, encourage them by problem solving and collaboration, and also motivate students through the rewards and progress tracking. But also this also required a lot of resources to develop such a large scale game. And we also wanted to briefly touch upon the versatile technology literacy, because we, as part of the actuarial programs nowadays, you know, like how to teach students to use different programs, different software tools like R, Python, SAS, Excel have been more important, like in the real actual work. But since our previous colleagues Jing Rong and Kongxin have already shared this, so we just quickly focus on the teaching methods, right? So the teaching methods. In the traditional teaching methods of the teaching technology, we'll basically start with the basics, like, you know, how to install the program, how to install R, what are the core functions, right? If, then, while loop, and also some of the syntax. And then we will gradually introduce examples and exercise to reinforce students' learning. But we found like a potential improvement upon the traditional methods is to incorporate modular learnings. What do we mean by modular learnings? Is we can break these concepts into small manageable pieces, modules, right? And for each short videos can focus on only one module on one specific function. For example, XLOOKUP or, you know, visualization. And we can also use some actual examples to make the lessons more relevant. For example, you can ask the students to write an annuity function, right, in our program or in Excel. But we also think like we need to adapt as the educators, the modern tools and AI assistants make the starting point, how we start the program, also debugging easier. So we wanted to shift our focus from the basic syntax memorizations we used to test students a lot on, you know, which is a semicolon, which is a column, to interpreting the outputs and applying insights. So basically understand the problems, right? And now we wanted to touch upon the last topic we're going to discuss today is the emerging trends in actuarial education. So we definitely know that generative AI, like the tools ChatGPT, Cloud, present both the new challenges and the opportunities in education. So in UNSW, we have been piloting this called the OpenAI powered tutors in our classes. So the OpenAI provided us the enterprise licenses. So basically we make sure that the student data and the courses data are protected. But basically what we need to do is we need to train an open textbook with OpenAI and see if OpenAI, the ChatGPT, can function as a real-time tutor. But basically, in terms of generative AI as a broad topic, there are also some other concerns like data privacy and biases. And also we need to think, what are the key skills? What are kind of skills we need to equip students these days? And in terms of actual practice, right? So there's a great quote we wanted to sum in. The generative AI is not just a tool, it's a partner in redefining how actuaries work and learn, right? So we have seen that definitely a lot of actuaries have more and more incorporated generative AI in their daily work. So the SOA Research Institute have strategically planned some more research work to stay on top of these trends, right? So you can see that we have published 2 reports specifically on Gen AI this year. And one is on the actual regulation framework, and the other one is on the how generative AI can be used in actual practice. So you can find the 2 reports link here. And another topic is the SDG goals. So the UN, the United Nations, have developed 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We have been, as educators in UNSW, we have been encouraged to incorporate our courses with the sustainability considerations. And a couple of colleagues and myself have participated in some of the SDG brainstorm workshop sessions and also showcase sessions. So you can find more of these on this link, the SDG considerations. And naturally, some of topics like actuarial climate modeling and TCFD and TNFD framework. So basically can be incorporated in actuarial education as well. So the program with UNDP and Milliman, so UNDP Milliman has collaborated to launch this global actuarial initiative to develop local actuarial talents in some emerging markets. And we as UNSW and SOA both have provided a few scholarships to support the faculty members in these emerging markets like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And some of my colleagues and myself also participated in mentoring, talks, and presentations. So I think it's a great way to support local talents in the emerging markets. So just a quick recap of our recent education innovation. So UNSW, as some of you might be knowing, that we are one of the biggest actuarial schools in the world. For example, in my first year class this year, we have 466 students. So the talk of the day is basically to share some of our recent innovations in different aspects, starting from the actual career readiness, and also how we collaborate with industry partners, develop our co-op program, sandbox program, for example, and also how we participated and been successful in the SOA research challenges in the past few years, and some of the innovative learning methods, teaching tips, and also how we can support students to better master the technology literacy and some of the emerging trends in generative AI and sustainability goals. So the key achievements, just to quickly recap our effectiveness of our innovation. So the SOA challenge, research challenge, of course, we have secured both the top and second place this year in 2024. So it basically showcased our students' actuarial excellence. And also because we wanted to break it down, like break into the modular lessons, our Excel training program. So we invited Andrew Nye, which is also our alumni, but he's a 3 times World Excel champion. And we asked him to provide a motivational talk video to the students to inspire the student learning. And you may find a link of his earlier interview with Dale, the SOA research director, and to share his Excel journey. And of course, some of our teaching innovation have been awarded, have received multiple awards from the teaching innovation awards within the faculty, university, and also some international awards. And also current development, including an OpenAI powered tutor. And we will see how it will develop eventually. So here comes all the aspects I wanted to share today, and you may find my contact details here. And thank you very much for listening, and wanted to open the doors for any further questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Xiao. That's very interesting information. So we can take a couple Q&A here. So the first one, for UNSW, NTU, and HKU, your programs are big and SOA CAE programs with lots of industry connection and university support. So how can you help other small actual programs with limited staffing and resources to grow and their students to succeed?
Yep. For UNSW, I can say that from our perspective, for some of the modules or, like Excel training videos we developed, we're definitely open to share with other smaller universities. And if smaller universities wanted to visit us through different fellowship programs or, international travel support, we definitely can to, but also, of course, subject to Dean's approval. But yes, there are definitely opportunities there, and we're eager to share.
Thank you. And another one, can you please share some of your case studies, industry projects with small programs?
Yes, definitely. So for the industry projects, because that really rely a lot on the local network, I would think because we're based in Sydney, if you think that's a lot of values, we can share this definitely, but you can find our SOA participation, like all these resources on the GitHub. We can definitely share that with you. But yes, in terms of industry projects, like especially the sandbox program, that is more like large scaled. But yes, so the SOA competition resources, we're definitely open to share.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe the last question here, for the modular learning, who teaches the course and what content do you give?
Yeah, for modular learning, we hired someone from the in the industry to provide the modular short videos for each of the functions like X lookup, V lookup, and how you can do the linear regressions like on Excel, like basically to have we have the funding to support that. But of course, these required some strategic efforts as well, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Xiao. Yep, thank you very much for the wonderful sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for the next session, that will be the panel discussion leading by Dr. Kia Van Ivansky Saputra. So yeah, please let me hand over to Dr. Kia.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this exciting panel discussions on the last session of the SOA faculty webcast. Yeah, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ivanki, and I'm honored to serve as the moderator of this discussion. Today, we will not only have 3 or 4 panelists, but 5 panelists coming from university across Asia and Australia. So I'm going to introduce the first panelist, who is Dr. Chong-It Tan. Yeah, Chong-It is from the University of Melbourne, Australia. Chong-It is an associate professor at the University of Melbourne. Prior to that, he worked at the Macquarie University and the Australian National University as an actuarial academic after completed his education in Singapore. As a fellow of Society of Actuary, Chong-It is passionate about actuarial education and hopes that one day he would have an opportunity to develop actuarial programs for students in developing nations. Okay, joining us next are familiar faces from the previous sessions. First, we have Joey and Wenjun. They are from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. Joining us as well is Dr. Jing Rong, who is from the Singapore Management University. And finally, representing the University of Hong Kong, we welcome Dr. Wat. So together, this diverse panel of academics will explore key topics related to actuarial educations, and I'm confident that discussion will provide a valuable perspective for all of us here today. Okay, so for our first topic, I would like to discuss the prestigious designation of the Center of Actuarial Excellence by the Society of Actuaries. So one question is already asking this before. So this recognition reflects the exceptional quality of the program and the leadership in advancing actuarial education. Perhaps I would like to ask Chong-It or maybe Wenjun or Wat, your institutions are among those that have achieved this standard. To start, could you share your universities, how you manage to consistently maintain the CA standard? What kind of initiatives or strategies have proven most effective for your program?
Thanks for the introduction and thanks for the opportunity to share on this panel. I think I will talk about program and in relation to that on graduate outcomes. So one of the criteria is on program and producing high quality graduates, which in turn will join the industry, the actual profession, and usually these alumni would contribute back to the university programs, the local programs, etc. So in that regard, going into more specifics, SOA, CAE, SOA require us to fulfill some syllabus coverage, around 80% curriculum for the 5 preliminary exams. And then on the graduate side, they want evidence of consistent graduate placement in the industry in the relevant roles over the years. So yeah, I think I'll just keep that on the program aspect, and I'll let other panelists to touch upon other areas.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Chang. Maybe what can add some more?
Yes. So for our case, as we introduced earlier, our actuarial science program has been launched for almost 30 years. So we have a very rich alumni network. So actually, our very first batch of our graduate are now very senior members in the industry. So one of the criteria for being the center of actuarial excellence is we have to have a strong ties with the industry. So our alumni network can actually help in this aspect. Of course, because of the long history of our program, so we have developed our curriculum fine-tuned for many, many years. Especially our curriculum is also accredited to the IFOA, not only joining with the SOA syllabus. So actually, our syllabus has been refined and checked by many external examiners and bodies. So we have been fine-tuning with more up-to-date syllabus and contents from years to years. So I think this is one of our advantage in both curriculum and alumni network to help us to maintain the leadership among the top schools, SPN and CAE.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, how about Wenjun? You
Yeah,
mentioned about Eureka something, maybe that also contribute to the CAA designation.
Yeah, thank you. I think some of the important points have been mentioned by our colleagues from Melbourne and the Hong Kong U. So besides updating curriculum, maintaining a very dynamic curriculum that is up to the trend of the actuarial industry, and also keeping close connection with our alumni. Another important ingredient for CAE, I believe, is research. So in our university here, I think through the design of the faculty portfolio here in NTU, we are very delegated to make the portfolio of a faculty components dynamic. So most of our, I think more than 90% of our faculties here in NTU are fully qualified actuaries. We only have one colleague whose background is insurance, who are not actually fully qualified actuaries. So all the others are fully qualified actuary. And another thing important here, I think, is the background of our fellows are very dynamic. We have actually fellows from SOA, fellows from IFOA, and also fellows from Institutes of Australia. So I think people with different backgrounds of different societies, they have special experiences, and they can through the discussion and understanding, we can introduce new ingredients that are unique to different society to benefit our students. And also we have some faculties who do a lot of research, can contribute to the academic publication in very leading academic journals that is recognized by SOA. And also we have tried to recently increase the component of practice track professors. Like we are very, very lucky to have Joey who joined us earlier this year. And since he joined, we feel like sincerely beneficial from his industry experience. Our students also benefit a lot, which ties our connection with the actuarial industry in Singapore and also in APAC regions in general. This happens not only in actuarial program here in NTU. It happens everywhere in different departments in business school. So we are increasing the proportion of practice track professors in business school in different disciplines. They are very valuable to make our curriculum more industry relevant and bring very important industry experience to our students.
Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing, Wenjun. Yeah. I want to also ask apart from CIE, your university also got recognition from SOI in terms of UEC. What kind of exam do students get exempted over there? How does the exemption work? Do they still have to pay for it? Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Thanks, Ivanki. So currently, we joined the UEC in the first batch of the universities around the globe. So we are actually now having 4 examinations being examined, which is the exam FM, SRM, LTAM, and ASDAM. So currently, these are the 4 examinations from the SOA that our students get exempted. We have one examination, which is FAM, that we do not get the exemption. The reason is not because of our curriculum, but actually they have a requirement that in maximum, they can only use 2 courses in the university to map to the examination. But currently, we would use 3 different courses to teach the contents because our curriculum is more in-depth in those topics from a traditional sense. So that's why we do not exactly fit in the SOA criteria. But our students manage to take those courses quite well. Regarding the fee, based on the SOA, the rule, so what they are going to pay is exactly the same as if the fee they would like to pay for the public examination for SOA. So if they get the score in our courses, then that means they will be eligible to apply for the UEC credits. So what they're going to do is to pay the exact exam fee. For example, exam FM. So they would like to, after passing the course with the of the passing mark threshold, and then what they're going to do is to notify the SOA that they would pay for this after receiving the notification from the SOA. So what we are going to do is that we are going to meet our external examiner every semester. So he will actually check our curriculum, the syllabus, and also the exam paper, and they will also check the students' work. So in the marginal cases, whether they will get some modification for them or a strict pass or fail fitting the SOA standard, and then we'll pass the list to SOA and then for the confirmation. So we do this for every semester. And now it has been, I think, the 3rd year that we have been doing this.
Wow, okay. Okay. So apart from CAE, actually there are also another standards by SOA, which is UCAP AC or UCAP IC. I think your university, Jing Rong, is one of the university in UCAP, right? Yeah. Would you advise the faculty to also pursue this if we don't still qualify for the CAE, right?
Right. Yeah, thanks for the question, Ivanki. Definitely, I feel like at SOA there's like different tiers, right? It's like a stepwise process. I think it is definitely helpful. Even if the university does not yet qualify for the CAE, I still think it's very useful to at least get onto the UCAT and because it takes time, right? You don't go into the CAE immediately. You can try for the UCAT and then consolidate your resources, get some of the benefits, and thereafter try again for the CAE. So I think, yeah, definitely, I still strongly recommend that.
Okay, yeah. And I'm interested with the topic about inviting industry back to our university, because I would like to ask Joy, maybe Jing Rong, would you think it's a good idea for a faculty to have a collaboration with industrial practitioners? Yeah, of course it is, but can you share any experience on how faculty can integrate with industries? What are the challenges to the university industry collaboration? What do you think?
Yeah, maybe I will start first. Please, please feel free to supplement. So from my perspective, I think this collaboration is essential because industry is our, if not the most stakeholders. But engaging them, I think there are some so-called strategy of thinking is probably worthwhile to highlight. One is to create a win-win situations. I think the motivations behind for some of the industry-driven requests, I think need to be understood. Examples could be, there may be some players wanted to sell services. I think those type of motivations need to be understood, whether this is the benefiting to our student, benefiting to school, whether they would be win-win situations or not. But most of the time, I think the conversation can be very healthy because industry, there are many good people wanted to help out the students, wanted to collaborate with universities, especially some of the new development. Examples is AI related research. Our industry players, really wanted to know, what propositions the students can come out. Because from industry perspective, they have heard about similar stories in the past so many years. They are looking for young people who can add value to this space. I just wanted to maybe just pause it here, maybe pass it to Jing Rong, please.
Thanks, Ivanki, and yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Joey, for the great sharing. And to be very honest, I'd say I actually echo a lot of what Joey has mentioned. Furthermore, like as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, in the dialogue with our Minister of Education, he highlights the critical importance of being able to get industry collaboration with universities, because end of the day, universities is really a gateway for the students to prepare themselves, transform them, as what Dr. Watt mentioned as well, to prepare them for the real working world, be it Singapore, regionally, internationally. So having that industry collaboration is key. And at the same time, I also echo what Joey said in terms of like having a win-win type of collaboration, because end of the day, it doesn't make sense for one party to just keep asking for something from the other party without anything in return. And from my perspective, in terms of the experience I've had, many a times, a lot of companies, what they actually want, right, I think it's like boils down to three things, right? And whether we can like fulfill these needs. The first is really in terms of getting like good hires, right? So for companies, they want to be able to get the best students, the best graduates for their companies, which is one reason why they collaborate with us. They want to like have some sort of engagement, hire them through the work study elective. Because earlier on, when I was sharing about what SMU is doing, we talk about all the benefits that students get, right? The longer experience, internship engagement. But from the companies, the reason why do they choose to do this with us? I believe it's because it's beneficial for them as well. They get to assess the student at a relatively lower cost to the company, because interns, you don't need to pay them a very high salary. But you get to be able to like assess whether this is a good potential hire, and if they are, they can easily convert them. All right. So I think that's one. The second, I think more important reason is a lot of times companies, they want to have some research ideas that they are working on, that they are interested to perhaps tap on some of the expertise from the universities, right? To help them with some of this research work that they are doing. So I think that's another win-win type of collaboration. Lastly, I think it's really in terms of like building sort of a PR, brand name, marketing type of thing, which is equally important for the companies and for the universities. So again, I just want to re-emphasize the idea where we need to find a way, strike a balance to make sure that it's beneficial, mutually beneficial for both the universities and industry, in order for this collaboration to be long lasting and sustainable. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jing Rong. Actually, in your opinion, what are the most significant challenge to university industry collaboration? Because I've been experiencing this as well. Yeah. For instance, are there challenges related to timelines or maybe expectation between academia and industry that could not agree, and perhaps maybe we are finding it's very difficult to invite industry to university because of their schedule, something like that. Yeah, maybe some of you could share about this. Yeah. Maybe Chong. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for the question. I think one aspect that I certainly feel is to get the buy-in from various stakeholders. Like Jing Rong and Joey mentioned, and everyone agreed this session, we have so much engagement with the industry within the actual profession, but we are in our respective school, business school, school of mathematics and statistics, and sometimes the stakeholders, important stakeholders that do not directly see the benefit of actuarial profession and training and education and engagement might need more evidence and might need more convincing arguments to do that. And I think a lot of that has to be, we have done all the great work, and there's this comment that we are great technically, but we're so poor in selling ourselves, right? I think that's a cliche amongst actual people, and perhaps this is even more important within the university and industry collaboration. I think I was quite surprised to see some, significant interest in some emerging countries like Vietnam or Indonesia in recent years. Like they reach out to, us in Australia as a university to kind of like want to set up a co-op-like program because of the talent. So the reason is the same. They want the talent, but then they are the one who initiate the conversation. So perhaps, if we can bring stories like this to our management in our school, we can tell them, hey, we are not the one who is asking, but they are the one who are initiating. This shows our importance. And in this I think actuaries, we are, well equipped to catch on this AI trend and this importance of, like, I think several speakers mentioned about strategic interpreter moving forward. I think we are very good on that, but not all people know. So I think it's about getting the message out. And I see that as a challenge. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I fully agree. Actually, university actually acting as a pool of talents. Actually, we should know how to sell this benefit that to the industry. From time to time, there are some possibility for industry collaboration. So the companies or different organizations, probably they have their own research team, but they may not have the expertise in every area. But in university, actually, you have the expertise in any area. For example, computing, data analysis, actuarial, finance, etc. So I think the university is a good connection between the academia and also the industry. So actually, we should actually find ways to establish more this kind of collaboration. I think it is actually like Joey says, a win-win situation. And actually, as a problem solver, especially in the new big data era with artificial intelligence, we also have the traditional knowledge of how to do data analysis with financial problem, life contingency, etc. So we should be in a good position to take this place to establish the connection. I think that there is much potential in this we can explore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I maybe I just share a personal story about the connections we are having here. I think we need multiple touch points with the industries. And one personal story I wanted to share is the case competitions. Because the case competition I mentioned, we have the industry mentorship. It's a very deep interactions with the student. We also have industry judges, and one of the judges is the chief, data officer of Prudential Singapore. For your information, just a couple of weeks ago, Prudential, they established a AI lab in Singapore, which assists the whole Prudential group. It's a few years initiative. So through those touch points, I was connected by them, asked whether, our business school wanted to be their partners. So we recently signed an MOU, and we're having some formal agreement. We just had a formal agreement. We are implementing some of the interesting projects with them under discussion. So again, I think having multiple touch points and opportunities will come to us.
Okay, yeah. I would like to ask question posed by the participants but haven't been answered before. Her program has the internship course, but students have to find their own companies for the internship. So their jobs are varying from real actuaries jobs and using the theories from school up to management work and nothing exposure to be the actuarial related. Yeah. So even one student had to become the salespersons of one insurance product. What do you think about this issue? Yeah.
Well, actually, the previous sharing is quite important because before the student actually do the first internship, they should first listen to those senior students who have done the job before so that they can share about what challenges they may face and what they can prepare better in their university study. For example, whether they should try to train up their Excel skills or programming languages or other financial knowledge, etc. Because actuarial is also quite diverse. It depending on whether you are doing in the pricing or valuation or consulting or what kind of work specifically. It depends on their own expertise, interest, and whether the company need you in that particular team. So we actually encourage students to listen to more sharing, no matter by senior students, by practitioner, or by our alumni. That can help them understand what they're going to face in the future, and they can choose, and also they can prepare better during their study. So I think there's a very good starting point in what they're going to do in the first 2 years before they work on the real life actual internship.
Okay.
If I may, maybe I would like to share a bit more on the proactiveness from the students and the emphasis from the faculty. So the faculty need to expose students, and then students need to also be proactive because especially in lots of program, compulsory or guaranteed internship may not be feasible because the opportunity and the demand and supply issue. But then if the focus is there, the emphasis is there, the training is there, like the lots of programs initiated by various universities sharing so far, I think students will benefit from it, and then the industry partners who see the outcome would also see that okay, this university produce very good interns or graduates, and they would like to do more. So I see this as kind of like a feedback loop where the ecosystem, one party take an initiative, the benefit is way more than what we could imagine initially. So yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Okay. It is really related to the important part of actuarial educations. I would like to shift our focus to another topics, which is students research competitions organized by the SOA, or maybe other students competition locally or globally, or maybe other student conferences that you have might mention before. I would like to hear from our panelists their thought on this competition, how this activity impacts students' academic and professional development. Yeah. Maybe
I think students like this kind of activity very much because actually, for number one, they may get awarded. Number two is that they can actually enrich their CV because it is a highly competitive world. So students need to find some extracurricular activities they can demonstrate their leadership, their participation in different professional bodies. I think this kind of case competition is very valuable because it can tell them how they can apply what they learn, for example, data analysis, their analyze method to real life situation, regardless whether it's a hypothetical one or real one. This actually is a very especially like experiential learning that's similar to our talk mentioned earlier. So this valuable experience is that it is unlike an examination. So what they're going to do is not just doing analysis, but they also need to know how to present their work, how to collaborate with other people, and how to bring out the key points to their project and bring the attention to the stakeholders. So these are all the requirements they need in their future job, no matter they work as an actuary or in other area. So I think these are very valuable training that they can gain experience. So we highly encourage our students to participate in these kind of activities. So we're happy to know that many more case competition these days compared to, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago.
Okay, thank you, Wat. Perhaps Wenjun could add
Yeah,
something
sure.
about the
A very quick
GA.
point to add on top of what just mentioned. It's very important, and then historically in NTU, our students are very active in participating in competitions like SOA case competition, and we also observe that in recent years there are so many more international and local competitions appear. But one thing that I notice, I'm not sure whether it's a big concern, is what I observe in the past. The participants mostly, I mean, usually in NTU, given the size of the program, we will maybe only have 1 or 2 teams, but they are mostly the top students in the program. So for most of the competitions, I observe that it's only a small portion of students who are very active participating in these competitions. And so, I mean, some question that I don't have a good answer right now, and I also want to throw to this discussion, maybe, you know, whether we can have any good idea or initiative to encourage more students, you know, more inclusive to encourage more students to participate in this competition. Mostly it's result driven. So maybe some students think they may not have a chance to win anything, so they just don't participate. But I agree with Professor Watt that this is an experience that it really matters. Even if some teams may not win the final in the final round, but the experience still will help them in their future job seeking, and you know, help them succeed in their career. So this is a question or concern I have, and also on top of that, I also feel students who, you know, I encourage students, not only participants in the case competition. I also believe organizing or arranging this case competition is also valuable experience. So for example, in Singapore here, NTU students, we have the actuarial students club, and they organize their own annual competition every year. That is the national wide, so all the university students can participate. So it's a 100% student initiative. So starting from finding judges, choosing topics, and writing the cases, it's all students led you know, initiative. And as faculty members, we just give them occasional advice. We don't you know, take part in very deep and intensive you know, activity with them. It's all their own activity. So this really help them to develop their multiple soft skills, deepening their understanding of the actuarial cases and actuarial business. And also they need to really talk to the industry partners, to invite people to spend time here, you know, modifying their cases, and also judge the final round presentation. So for another advice from me is, I think students can also think about participating in organizing this case competition. You may not have a, you know, winning, you know, you may not need to only win the case competition. It's the organizing process and experience that also can help you.
Okay, thank you.
If I
Yes.
may, I think Wenjun touched upon a very important point, which is student club. So student club offer lots of benefits beyond faculty member, beyond school support or industry, and they find sponsors, they organize events, social events, networking, career events, and they learn leadership skill. They bring together the cohort, especially with COVID and online learning and face-to-face component has been lacking. I think universities should be encouraged to start a student club if they haven't had any. In fact, one of the advice as program director at my previous university was that when I welcome new students, I tell them the most important thing is to join the student club. You worry about the rest later. I think that is so important, and everything else can fall into places and can follow accordingly when you get the right step and engage and talking to senior students, peers, and everything. So student club is in fact one of the CAE criteria as well. So if you want to prepare to be recognized as a CAE, student club is an important component, and not just for CAE, I think for the overall benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chang. Yeah. So we have such a productive discussion so far. We have talked about how university maintains the center of excellence standards. So we discussed the university industry collaboration, and just now we explored the incredible opportunities provided by student club and student research competitions. So moving on to the Q&A segments, which is equally exciting parts of today's discussions. You have a chance to ask questions to more about topics discussed, or post a new topic, or just ask any questions. Please feel free to type your question in the Q&A box. So I think we already have one question here from Lin Zhang. I want to know what standard of your course. Do you follow the SOA exam? What do you teach for SRM? I think this question is for what probably, yeah, or for Jing Rong, yeah, because this is related to Python course and our course before. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So yes, we do. We actually follow the SOA exam. So there's actually a curriculum, and then we actually follow there's the Excel sheet, and tells you like what percentage do you actually cover in your course. So we do that. We cover that in both the statistical learning with R. Majority of that is covered in that module in terms of the SRM. So some of the typical items that we have, like your statistical modeling, your regression methods, and also some of the coding that we do there. How does that actually translate? One other thing that I also want to add there is in terms of the way we teach, right? Even though it's a statistical learning with R course, a lot of some of the example cases that we actually have included into our lecture slides, our classwork, coursework, we actually use like insurance companies examples, so that it's easier for students to better relate to what they are learning. Because many of our students, right, they actually might have some exposure in terms of some of the basic statistical knowledge from other courses, right? But a lot of times, all these different courses that they have taken from other modules might not be as focused on the SOA or SRM curriculum. It might be more like generic. So one thing that we try to differentiate ourselves is to try to add more context. I think having that level of context for our students will make it a lot easier for them to digest what they are learning. Makes it easier for them to link what they are learning to what they potentially will have to do in the future if they start working as an actuary. So yeah, so straight answer, yes, we do. And yes, we actually follow the SOA exam syllabus. We don't cover 100%, but I'll say at least 80%, 80, 90% of it is covered there.
Yeah.
So
Thank you,
similar
Chang.
to Jing Rong, actually in Hong Kong U, we also follow the SOA syllabus for the SRM. Actually, because SOA has this SRM examination, I think it should be about 6 years ago. And then we intentionally offer a new course addressing this topic. So that's why we follow closely with the SOA syllabus. And in this course, we put this in a high level, I think level 3 or level 4 courses, so that we would like students to first know the basic foundation in statistical modeling in year 2 or year 3, and then they will learn how to use programming language and, for example, R, to solve some real-life problem. So based on their foundation. So this is a senior level course. Also, like Jing Rong said, because in this course, actually we can let students solve some practical problem with real data sets. So I think the situation is very pretty much like what they're going to do in their real life work, and also maybe in some case competition. So I think students actually enjoy learning this because they can combine both theory and practice together in this course.
Okay, thank you, Wat. Yeah. So while waiting for the second questions, I would like to ask about the problem we are having in Indonesia. Maybe I'm sure you have this kind of problem as well. SOI exams are quite expensive. Do your institution provide any financial support or other form of support to help students manage these expenses?
So for our case, so thanks to the SOA, because we are one of the CAE school, so every year the SOA provide 3 places for us to sponsor the student, so they can get a reimbursement after the examination. So student, of course, they enjoy it and they would like to apply it every year. So we will need to do some internal screening nomination, maybe some lucky draws to see who will be the lucky one to get a reimbursement. So this has been in place for, I think, quite many years already.
Yeah. How about in UCAP institutions? Do you also get that support, Jing Rong?
Yeah, thank you. So actually the support we provide to our students is a little bit different. So the way we do it, there's actually the SOA full exam fee reimbursement, and in 2024 we actually have 2 students who got that full exam fee reimbursement. But more specifically, like we have like so many more students, right? Like how do we better support them? And sometimes they would say like the to take the exam is quite expensive as well, especially if you're a student. So what we actually do is me and my actuarial colleagues at SMU, we actually from a school perspective, university, all the faculty, we have our own research fund, right? We call it the DART fund. So my colleagues and I, we actually take a portion of our DART fund and we earmark it for like to our students, right? We can spend it on what we want, but we choose to dedicate a portion of this for students. So what happens is for students who have taken like predominantly like the SOA exams, right? The ASA exams. If they take it when they are still a student and they pass it when they are still a student, they can actually send the pass slips to the school, to us, and we actually reimburse them. Previously, we reimbursed them $50, but now with the inflation, we managed to increase it to $100 for each passing. So many of our students have benefited from this initiative, and we look forward to providing more support to our students moving forward as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jing Rong.
Thank you.
So we have our second question from the audience. I think this question is kind of a favorite today. Do you see the decrease in the enrollment as more students shift to data science? What kind of measure do you take to recruit students? Perhaps It from Melbourne, or maybe Wenjun from Singapore, please.
Okay, I think I'll start answering this question by just introduce some history. I joined NTU in 2017. So I think by the time I joined, I witnessed the peak of actuarial cohort in NTU. By then, every year we have more than 50 students, something between 50 to 60. I think the biggest class I have taught in one of my classes was about 60 plus. But then gradually, especially after pandemic, the enrollment size dropped about 20%. So I observed some stabilization in recent several years. Our students every year have the size around 40. But yes, this is what we have observed, and personally, I think we should take it. It's the fact, right? It's the truth. So the starting salary from data science and other tech industry is higher. Honestly, it's higher than the starting pay of actuaries, and they don't need to clear all the exams, and they don't need to balance their work and study even after they leave school. So I think this is a main hurdle for some students who prefer higher starting pay and who don't want to continue their study to choose data science. It's understandable. But we usually try to educate the potential students that there is much higher job security in actuarial profession, and your experience really can value, accumulated value along your industry, development. So the longer you have, a longer experience you have in the industry, you can expect steady increment in your salary. But in data science profession, this may not be the truth. You may observe more volatility in your salary, and some unexpected loss of job may also be possible. So this is what we have been trying to educate potential students, even in the high school level. And hopefully we can see some rebounds of the student size in the coming few years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think maybe I can share some of my observation. I think yes, the trend is going down, especially since COVID, but then I see that as a selection effect in itself, because the way I see actual degree is that you will learn skills, transferable skills that is going to be applicable across a wide range of industry. And in fact, like whenever I hear stories of our graduates going into a slightly non-traditional areas and succeed and make some impact, it makes our I get happier when I listen to stories like that, because it shows that how our students are capable of branching out and make an impact, and that's how society make progress, and we want to tackle the societal latest challenge. And fair enough, they have their own ambition, their interests, and so on. So going back to the question, like it's about the skills transferable skills that they can learn. And I think it will be hard to find a degree with rigor, practicality, and also I think the community is so tight knit, and like almost everyone knows everyone else. And the skills that they learn, and all the things, as far taking exams is one big part. Some students see that as a minus. I actually see that as a plus. Maybe again, this is self-selection, because the fact that people persevere to go through all the exams, I think it tells our prospective employers what kind of person or what kind of character we are. And actuaries are highly regarded, highly respected, and remuneration is pretty good. But I guess moving forward, this trend is going to continue. I agree with Wenjun. We can only take it as it is, but I think maybe we can change the narrative a little bit. Quality over quantity. The quantity is down, but if the quality is still there, I think we should be equally be happy about that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chong. Yeah. Okay. I'm still waiting for the question from the audience, but I do have one question myself. It's kind of important. So are your university open to collaborate with other university? I mean, at least in your departments. What I mean is, your university obviously kind of role models for us, and it will be a beneficial for our students if we can do some, perhaps program that I have in mind is like a student exchange at university, something like that. Yeah, maybe Joey or Jing Rong. Yeah, because in Jing Rong place you have prophets, and maybe my student could come to your place to learn about prophets, something like that.
Yeah, thanks, Ivanki. Maybe I'll just take this question first, and maybe Joey can elaborate more. So, short answer is yes, definitely. As mentioned, another reason I actually also like to really join this panel is, and this presentation here today, is to really highlight in my presentation. We're looking for partners, looking for collaborators, because it's not possible in this like increasingly globalized stage, right? It's not possible to survive alone. I think I'm a firm believer that having a good collaboration with overseas universities, with different universities in Singapore as well, is critical, not just for the program, but also for the students, right? Like students, I think they can benefit a lot from this. But one thing also I want to highlight, I guess, end of the day, it always has to be a win-win. There needs to be some ways that we can find ways such that the students from both universities can benefit. One way I can see that happening is really that cross-border type of interaction, because a lot of students, when they're able to maybe go to Indonesia to study as well, I think that adds on to their CV that they have that greater exposure. I think it also makes them more attractive in the eyes of some of the MNCs as well. Maybe I take a quick pause there and pass to Joey.
Thanks, I very much echo to what you share. And personally, I'm very open for cross-border collaborations, like what JR says. And personally, in the past, I have experience of working with colleagues from all over Southeast Asia and plus East Asia. I think understanding the cultures, understanding how to work with each other is very, very important. I think, through our effort, I think that can become real, right? And maybe I just wanted to add, identify the low-hanging fruit to start is probably something a quick win there. Because I think to arranging some longer programs that takes more effort and more dedication, but we can start something quicker. One example I just want to highlight again is the case competition. Just welcome you to join, and also welcome you to come to NTU campus next year. And I think through those interactions and communications, I'm sure we are able to expand to something more sustainable longer term.
Okay, so I think this concludes our discussions because we have no more questions from the audience. Thank you so much for our panelists for your valuable insights, and I will give this floor to our moderator, Floyd, please.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's very insightful, informative session, and it's very good to see a close collaboration between like university. And as a representative from the industry, I'm more than willing to help to connect between the industry and the university. Yep. Thank you so much, Kia, for help moderating the panel discussion. Thank you. And now it is the end of our today's session. Please let me welcome Vicki back to the stage in delivering the closing remarks.
Thank you, Chloe. Yeah, thanks for all the presenters today for the insight for sharing. We hope today's session help our faculty audience to connect your related concern with today's sharing by the presenter, including the internship program, actuarial software learning, collaboration with the industry workshop, innovative learning, the soft skill, and also at the end, the insight for panel discussion. As I also teach in Actuarial Science program as an adjunct associate professor in Taipei, I personally find today's session very helpful and insightful. Next year, 2025, SOA is going to working on more academic projects and will continue to provide support to faculty members in their teaching effort to nurture the student to prepare them to the profession. We will reach out again with related schedule when related schedule is available. Information about 2025 seminar and PD event in Asia includes February 26, PAI SOA joint webinar, April 15, AICT SOA joint seminar in Taipei, June 16, 17, Asia Pacific Annual Symposium in Hong Kong. In September, SOA Seoul seminar in Seoul, South Korea. In October, ASM and SOA's joint seminar in Kuala Lumpur. And thank you all very much, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And back to you, Chloe.
Thank you so much, Vicky. So I'd like to thank you everyone for joining our faculty webcast. It's our great pleasure to have you with us today, and we hope to see you again in our next SOA event. So thank you so much. Have a good holidays. You may now disconnect. Thank you.